Hello and welcome to News at this hour. I am your host Rika Roy and this is our top story. Navy has confirmed that there has been a drone strike on an oil tanker. MV Chem Pluto was hit by a drone off the Gujarat coast. Navy said they will establish direction of the attack soon. My colleague Vishnu Som has more on the story.
Well, Rika, this is a ship which was struck more than 24 hours back by a drone. It was 400 kilometers off the coast of India, approximately 830 kilometers south of, let us say, Iran. In other words, very much in the south of the Arabian Sea, pretty much in no man's land, as it were. It was struck by a drone. There's a massive, as these images, which I think you are broadcasting now, show you there's a massive gash in the stern of the ship. And there is significant damage which has been caused. Initially, the ship was unable to proceed because of electrical problems, but subsequently, using her own power, she was able to sail. She was escorted by an Indian Navy destroyer and the Indian Coast Guard vessel Vikram as well. And she's finally made her way to Mumbai. She reached anchorage at Mumbai sometime today. And on her arrival, the Indian Navy's explosive ordnance disposal teams inspected the vessel and made a preliminary assessment of the type and nature of the attack, an analysis of this attack, of the area of the attack, and the debris found on the ship points to a drone attack is what the Navy says. However, further forensic and technical analysis will be required to establish the vector of the attack, in other words, the direction of the attack, including type and amount of explosive used. So at this juncture, we don't know where that drone came from. As I mentioned, it's far, far away from areas where the Houthis in the area of Yemen, which they control, would have a drone likely to actually fire a weapon like this. If this drone was launched from a ship, then it raises an entirely new sort of threat. But all of this is quite unnerving because it has a huge impact to shipping which is coming into India. And of course, the potential loss of lives as well. We've seen multiple attacks now in the Red Sea, and now this attack, the furthest away from Houthi areas that we are aware of.
Now, the Army Chief General Manoj Pandey was in Poonch to review security situation after recent terrorist attack on the army. As the troops are engaged in a massive counter-militancy operation to track the attackers, the brigade commander of the area and 2 other officers have been removed from the command and asked to join a formal inquiry into death of 3 civilians allegedly in army custody and failure of the command to prevent frequent terrorist attacks in the region.
The Army Chief General Manoj Pandey in Rajouri. 4 days after the terror attack in which 4 army soldiers were killed. 9 soldiers, including 2 officers, have been killed in the region in the last month. The chief's visit also comes at a time when a video has emerged of several local people being tortured after they were picked up by the army after the encounter. The army's message in this: there is zero tolerance for attacks on innocent civilians, and those responsible will be punished. As a first step, a brigadier in charge of local operations has been asked to stand down till an inquiry is over. This is a major first step as the army tries to fix accountability for the conduct of anti-terror operations and the way in which 3 civilians were killed. The bodies of the soldiers killed in action were flown back to their villages today. A request from the families. These images of the final rites of one of the soldiers tell a story of profound grief and suffering.
सूचना मिली कि 21 तारीख को मुठभेड़ हुआ, फिर हम लोग टीवी ऑन थे, लेकिन हमको क्या पता कि जो शहीद हुए हैं तो उसमें मेरा भाई भी एक है। अक्टूबर में छुट्टी पड़ी थे और फिर दीपावली के बाद 14 नवंबर को फिर अपना वापस गए थे।
किसी तरह पत्नी को फोन आया, करण की पत्नी को, कि आपके पति के पैर में गोली लग गई। इसके बाद लोगों ने खोज खबर शुरू की और 1 घंटे बाद सब डिटेल आने लगा कि ना वो शहीद हो गए हैं।
Pir Panjal region in Jammu and Kashmir is becoming biggest security challenge after a series of attacks on the army. Death of 3 civilians and injuries to several others allegedly in army custody has complicated the problem. Army Chief's visit to Poonch today is a clear message that Army at the highest level is directly monitoring the situation, and decision to remove a brigade commander is to send a message that Army has zero tolerance for human rights violations. In Srinagar, Nazir Masoodi for NDTV.
Now, the Defence Minister is likely to visit Jammu on Wednesday. Rajnath Singh will chair a review in Jammu during his day-long visit. He will meet top-ranking army officers. The Defence Minister is also expected to visit Rajouri and Poonch, where he will interact with the civilians and army personnel. Now, a plane carrying several Indian passengers detained near Paris 4 days ago due to suspected human trafficking reportedly left for Mumbai earlier today after a judge cleared their departure. The Nicaragua-bound charter plane has 303 passengers, mostly Indians, and at least 11 unaccompanied minors. An anonymous tip-off that they were potential victims of human trafficking led to it grounding at Vatri airport on its arrival from Dubai for refueling. The prosecutors had on Sunday allowed the Airbus A340 to leave France after questioning the passengers for 2 days.
According to the sources, what we are learning as far as the time, at the time which the arrival time of the flight is expected in the midnight in Mumbai, and it's going to be landed in Mumbai. The passenger plane, the Airbus A340, was held at the Vatri airport, 150 kilometers, which is east from Paris. And when it arrived from Dubai for refueling, and after an anonymous tip that was given to the French authorities that it was carrying potential victims of human trafficking. So at the same time, what we are also given to understand that the passengers of this flight were put up at the airport during the investigation, and there were facilities given to them like beds, toilets and showers were also installed. At the same time, what we are also given to understand that we are the authorities, Indian authorities, they have been constant in touch with the passengers, and the Indian ambassador to France has also tweeted out and said that thanking the authorities there for giving them the facilities there.
Switching tracks to some other news now, a Chennai woman techie was burnt alive by her classmate. The accused underwent sex change to marry her. In fact, the incident took place in Chennai's southern suburb. The victim was blindfolded under guise of birthday surprise.
24-year-old Nandini was found on Saturday evening, chained, with cuts on her arms, legs and neck, burnt after dousing her with petrol under Tambaram limits on the outskirts of Chennai. Her school classmate from Madurai, Pandi Maheshwari, who had become Vetrimaran after a sex change operation, has been arrested. Tambaram Police Commissioner Amol Raj told NDTV the two had been close friends and were working with a private IT firm in Chennai for the past 8 months. Vetrimaran was reportedly jealous and enraged that in recent weeks Nandini had become friendly with others. So Vetrimaran had invited Nandini to a pre-birthday surprise and murdered her. Vetrimaran has been arrested. With Suresh in Chennai, Uma Sudhir, NDTV.
Now, after Noida lift collapse, Yogi Adityanath, the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh, has cracked down. The UP CM has said there is a need to enact new law on safety of lifts. Registration of every lift is mandatory, says the CM. On the 23rd of December, 9 people were injured in Noida lift collapse, and these incidents have been happening off and on. My colleague Tanish Punjabi has more on the story.
Yes, exactly, Rika. First, let me tell you that there is no such law that exists right now in Uttar Pradesh. Before the winter session of the UP Assembly, there were actually talks of that a law is being drafted. Which will be soon be presented in the winter session, but no such thing actually came up. But now, after recent accidents, Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath today held a high-level meeting, and he basically instructed that there needs to be a law to enact safety and security of the escalators. He also said that be it private premises or the public registration of every lift and escalator will be mandatory. He also gave instruction that the compliance with BIS standards is mandatory for the construction of lifts and escalators, and strict action will be taken. He also said that it will be, mandatory to install emergency bell, CCTV camera, and adequate lighting and communication system in the lift. So with the wider public interest, Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has given instruction to make the law of security in a high-level meeting held today. And he also gave several guidelines that need to be followed. In the press release by the government, it said that at present there is no applicable law in this regard in the state, whereas Lift Act is in the force in the other provinces of the country. So he also said that this needs to be implemented as soon as possible. So yes, of course, we might see a law coming out very soon on the safety regulation.
Now, on the day when Manipur celebrated a muted Christmas, even as the state limped back to normalcy, Chief Minister N. Biren Singh reached out to the Kuki Zo groups asking for dialogue to resolve the conflict. Let's listen in.
We have to take some time. We have to slowly, because all are our peoples. We cannot use force. I want to appeal to the all citizens of India, particularly those who are in Manipur and taking part in the present crisis, to stop violence, to start dialogue, peaceful dialogue. We have to live together again, and we have to resettle the displaced person in their respective places.
Time for a quick break on the show. More on the other side. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Superstar Chiranjeevi has met the Telangana CM. He had earlier gone out of politics. Chiranjeevi, in fact, met Revant Reddy in Hyderabad. The CM, Chiranjeevi, quit politics. In fact, in 2014, it's been 9 years now. In 2012, he was sworn in as the Union Tourism Minister. Those are the pictures of him meeting the Chief Minister. Well, whether he is coming back to politics or not is anyone's guess. It is the holiday season, and so the roads in Himachal Pradesh are witnessing unusual traffic congestion. Several tourists have started to flock to the hill station to spend the Christmas weekend and the last few days of the year.
A massive festive rush across India's marquee hill stations for Christmas and New Year. Over 55,000 vehicles have entered the already congested Shimla in the last 3 days. It's going to get even more clogged, say authorities. More than 1 lakh vehicles are expected to enter Shimla this week for New Year celebrations. But it's not just Shimla. Massive traffic jams were witnessed in Manali and Kasol, which witnessed a fresh spell of snowfall on Saturday. A massive 65,000 tourists and 12,000 vehicles crossed the Atal Tunnel in Rohtang that joins Kullu, Lahaul and Spiti in the past 3 days. The temperatures there are freezing. Himachal Pradesh Chief Minister Sukhvinder Singh Sukhu posted on the social media platform X welcoming tourists and applauding the police for trying to manage the influx. The massive tourist influx has brought smiles to the hospitality and tourism sector. There's a massive tourist footfall in Uttarakhand hill stations like Nainital too. Authorities here say they've tried to implement many measures like different parking spots on the outer periphery of the hill stations.
क्रिसमस और न्यू ईयर का है नैनीताल के लिए बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण दोनों दिन रहते हैं और इसीलिए हमने पहले ही जितने भी हितधारक हैं उन सभी को बुला के मीटिंग करी. हमने अपना ट्रैफिक प्लान जो है क्रिसमस और न्यू ईयर को लेके वो भी हम लोग जारी कर रहे हैं. आके बहुत ही अच्छा लग रहा है और बहुत ही पीसफुल, मतलब एक मन में अलग ही डिफरेंट शांति मिलती है, पीस लगता है आपको. इस टाइम बहुत अच्छा है और हम लोग बहुत एंजॉय कर रहे हैं. फैमिली के साथ आए हैं और हमें आए हुए अभी कल आए हैं और अभी हम 2-3 दिन और रुकेंगे. बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है, वेदर बहुत अच्छा है यहाँ का.
The festive cheer apart, The huge influx of tourists is not only challenging for the administration, but it also will have a huge impact on the ecology of the region, which is already quite fragile. With Kishore Rawat and Mohammad Ghazali, Bureau Report, NDTV.
Amid the festive rush, a tourist found an ingenious way to beat the traffic, ditching roads for a drive across a river. In a video, the tourist was seen driving a Mahindra Thar SUV to the Chandra River in Lahore Valley. Fortunately, the water level in the river wasn't much, as otherwise the drive could have been fatal. The video, which has been widely shared on social media, has drawn criticism from the locals. Now here's perhaps one of the cutest videos of the Christmas Day 2023. Ranbir Kapoor and Alia Bhatt out for the Kapoor family Christmas lunch with their daughter. For the first time, she was seen in public view. And there was Christmas cheer across India. There were decors, delightful music and delicious food. Have a look.